Minutes before a meeting, a one-on-one meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the US President Donald Trump, the Department of State has designated the Hizb-ul-Mujahideen chief Syed Salahuddin as a global terrorist. In India, the MEA says that India's stand is vindicated. Now, this US State Department statement says that the order will prohibit US nationals from engaging in transactions with Salahuddin, also that all of his property and interests and property subject to the United States jurisdiction will be blocked. And the MEA has reacted just minutes ago, saying that India's stand on terror emanating from Pakistan has now been vindicated. Take a look. All right, we'll have Nidhi Nazdan joining us for more on this. Nidhi, what exactly does this mean? Does this change things on the ground?
Well, Sarah, that really is the key question, because we have seen in the past as well that, for instance, someone like Hafiz Saeed, who's the chief of the LET, he has a $10 million US bounty on his head, and yet roams freely in Pakistan and makes anti-India speeches all the time. So that is one part of the question. However, diplomatically, it's a big victory for India, and it's very significant that the US has decided to give this designation to Syed Salahuddin, designating him as a global terrorist. It will certainly put a crunch on the finances that he and his organization get, although in a sense he's been more of a marginal player now and is confined largely to Muzaffarabad and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. But there is a huge symbolism in this, because the Hizb-ul-Mujahideen was at one time the biggest terror group in Jammu and Kashmir. It has seen a kind of reactivation in the last couple of years. Salahuddin is actually from J&K himself, and then crossed over into Pakistan. So this would certainly put pressure on funds and those and the transactions that Salahuddin and his group make. But at the end of the day, the question is whether the Pakistani authorities will cooperate in any way on this. That is very unlikely to happen. But the messaging is more important here, because it shows that the new U.S. administration is playing ball as far as India's position on Pakistan is concerned. It's making it clear that it recognizes that entities like Syed Salahuddin are a terror threat, that they are a threat to India, that he is a Pakistan-based terrorist, and that therefore on this visit, this is an important message that has gone out from the United States. Sarah.
All right, Nidhi, so it may just be messaging, but the fact that both the Defense Secretary and the Secretary of State, when they met with Prime Minister Modi ahead of that big meeting with the US President, the fact that terror came up there, does that strengthen the expectations that there will be a strong statement on terror in the joint statement at the end of the day?
That is certainly the expectation, Sarah, that there could be a pretty strong statement as far as the issue of terrorism is concerned. And we'll have to wait and see how it's worded, whether Pakistan is named, and what exactly is said. Opinion on this is really divided, because people really don't know what to expect from a Donald Trump as president when it comes to these issues. It's an unknown entity in a sense that India is also dealing with. But the expectation is, yes, that there will be a strong reference to this issue of terrorism and cross-border terrorism as well. In the statement, that certainly is the expectation from the Indian side. Some diplomats believe that in the long run, US policy may not be very different towards Pakistan than it has been in the past. It may not deviate very much from that. Others believe that Donald Trump may actually walk the talk on Pakistan, and unlike previous presidents, may perhaps surprise us and be tougher with Pak-based terror groups. How that is going to happen, we will have to wait and see. But certainly the Indian side is expecting that when that joint statement comes out in just a couple of hours from now, that would have a strong reference to terrorism.
All right, Nidhi Nazdan reporting from the capital. Thank you for joining us. So who exactly is Syed Salahuddin? He's the senior leader of the terrorist group, the Hizb-ul-Mujahideen. Here's more background, more details on who he is. Naseem Masoodi has the details.
He was a politician and had contested 1987 assembly election, but lost in an election which was known as rigged election. Then he joined militancy and became the chief commander of Hizb-ul-Mujahideen. And this decision by the US State Department is a huge blow to militancy, that to indigenous militants. Salahuddin is based in POK, Muzaffarabad, capital of the POK, and he is also head of the amalgam of the United Jihad Council, which is the amalgam of the various militant outfits based in Pakistan and Pakistani occupied Kashmir. So while as the Lashkar, Jaish and other foreign groups were already declared as terrorists, but this is the indigenous group, Hizb-ul-Mujahideen, and whose all the cadres are local. He being declared as the international terrorist by the US is a huge blow to militancy and the separate movement as well. Because he had some, in fact, government of India had actually engaged with the Hizb-ul-Mujahideen leaders, at least 5 commanders, into like 15 years back. It was NDF, one government headed by Mr. Atul Bihari Vajpayee, when they engaged with the Hizb-ul-Mujahideen commanders. Now the same group, head of the same group being declared as terrorists by the US State Department is a huge blow to Hizb-ul-Mujahideen and militancy in Kashmir. In fact, today itself, Salahuddin has issued a week-long program, including strike calendar, in the wake of Burhan Wani's first death anniversary, which falls on 8th of July, and he has asked for the strike, protests, and other things, because he is trying not only just militancy, also trying to create a political space for himself as well, because militancy is not just about the gun. The way they are creating the larger situation of militancy, not just about the gun-wielding people, but people who support militancy. And this decision by the US State Department is a huge setback to that, to the organization, to militancy, and Salahuddin himself, who was in fact, during the NDA government also, when government of India asked Pakistan to hand over 20 persons fugitives who are operating in Pakistan, Salahuddin was one among them.